I was going to do something totally different. However, I think this is something that I feel needs to be addressed and talked about more, especially in the prepper community, because it's something that I see neglected unless you go outside of the usual big channels. And that is making masculinity an important part of the prepper identity. Sure, you could say that there's a component of it there. You're focusing on self reliance, on acquiring ways to defend yourself, on being able to help within your communities. That's great. But by and large, it seems like we're talking to the same audience. We are already matured adults. We have lives outside of this activity that we do, and our views are pretty much set. But what are we doing to encourage and grow the next generation after us? Understand that if you're trying to prepare for the future, one of the most important things you can do is to teach the next generation not just the skills that they need, but then the attitude that they need. They need to learn how to become bigger than their problems. You have a lot of these young males who go on to do horrendous things. When you delve into their backgrounds, they're medicated on SSRIs because they've complained about depression, because they're having issues at school among their peer group, and no one is listening to them. So instead of remedying the problem, like we cram them full of medication that they're saying might actually be exacerbating different problems, and then expect them to be useful members of society. And instead of raising assertive young men who understand that their role is to protect members of their community, they've raised these young people who expect to get brownie points just for towing the line when it comes to social acceptability. It's very important that if you see yourself as someone that prepares for the eventualities of the world, that you take the time and wherever you can, however you can, mentor these young men, whether they be your sons, your nephews, your cousins, your siblings. You want them to look at you in times of trouble and think, that is a man that I want to emulate. This type of masculinity is not toxic. We need to start teaching that. We need strong, self assured men who can take charge, who can stay calm in emergencies, who can learn and understand the world around them so that they can influence it better. You see it out there right now. People are very easily influenced by any face that gets on TV and promises them the moon. And when it doesn't pan out how they think it should have, whatever the favorite boogeyman is going to be, that's who they're going to lay it all down on. This goes into a larger aspect of perception within the community. But if you're going to do this for the long game, you can't come off as the crazy isolationist. You have to be inviting and lead by example. You have to show these young men, these young boys, the benefits of being a resilient and strong individual and succeed in your own life as well. Because if you're going to build a tribe, if you're going to influence a community, you can't be struggling and then tell people how they should live. Look how that's working out for these people that don't even know what to call themselves a year later. They flip-flop back and forth for clout. It's really time to own what we are. And if you're a strong man or a strong woman, there's certain expectations of you. And that has to be evident in your actions. It has to be evident in how you live. You have to actually be successful. You have to be doing well for yourself. You have to be happy because these young men are getting fed up and they're learning how to stand up for themselves. And that's something that we need to guide and show that it's okay to be assertive. It's okay to be a strong man. And it's totally okay to see yourself as a protector of anyone else that might not be able to do it for themselves. Toxic masculinity was a buzzword for companies to make money, to push an agenda that became very popular in the social consciousness of the American culture. But with the rise in crime and all these crazy world events, it's turning again. And we definitely need to be there to guide these young men, these boys that are coming of age, so that they can learn how to become good men. Ready men, prepared. All these little influences will build up in the larger fabric of things. There's that saying, you've probably heard it in different places, about the man that plants a tree whose shade he will never know. And this is just like that. Everyone can have the ability to change the world by changing the immediate sphere that they have influence over. Influence these young men to be better, to be stronger than the current problems that we face, to make rational decisions, to fully study why they believe what they believe. Is it oversimplified? Sure. We could have an hours-long discussion about this, but I know that your time is valuable, and I really just want to get something in there so that you start thinking about it in your day-to-day life. The world changes a little step at a time. boys will be boys somehow got perverted in a way to say that that is how people traditionally excused bad behavior. Boys will be boys, to me, always referred to that young boy who wanted to become the hero, the protector of his town, the intelligent farmer, or that great warrior that would give up his life to save his people. It had absolutely nothing to do with domination over women. The world is hurting for good men. The world is hurting for strong men. Let's help start raising them and encouraging them. So until the next video, be an asset within your community, be good, stay safe, and have a good one.